Hey, I've just finished reading this, The Great Partition, The Making of India and Pakistan, because my sister recommended it. Not an easy read, it's more like an essay. The writer is Yasmin. It's actually amazing. It was amazing because it made me understand a lot of things. India, all one massive piece of land that's now Bangladesh and Pakistan and India, and the Pakistanis and the Indians and the Bengalis, Hindus, Sikhs, Muslims all live together fairly peacefully, I imagine. I didn't know that some of Sikhism's holiest shrines are actually in Pakistan. Some of some of Islam's most historical mosques were in India. They've been dismantled and blah blah blah. But this is amazing, really good. It's a really good political analysis. It's a really good historical analysis, and it doesn't ignore the stories of the individuals, which are very very important. And it shows what happens if you try to decompose a human being. Their personality, what they do, their values, and you just turn them into a label. So they either become, in this case, Muslim or Hindu. There were Sikhs as well, there were Christians, nobody seemed to give a damn about them. And it leads to horrific things, neighbours murdering each other. There's a passage in there where I remember children saw their parents burned to death and dismembered, often by neighbours. Neighbours! Because they become a label. It's like what happened to the Jews. In Germany, they just became Jews, they weren't people anymore. Or what happened to the Muslims in Bosnia. They just became Muslims, they weren't humans anymore. And it's got some parallels, unfortunately, in politics today. You've got the leavers and the remainers. They're at each other's throats. In America, you've got the Muslims who are all terrorists, all this bullshit. A really powerful book, really powerful. And my father was alive when this was going on. I never got to talk to him about it. It must have been something, I tell you. 12 million people emigrated. That's about the same as the number of people on the move now with everything that's going on in the Middle East, after our friends Tony Blair and George Bush helped to destabilize that whole region and make the world a worse place for it. Really good book, not easy to read, long essay, extremely informative, fascinating, moving. If it was easy to read, I'd give it 9 out of 10, but because it's not, I'll give it 7 out of 10. It's not the kind of book that you can just breeze through. There's a lot of information, but as far as historical books go, if you're into that, with a lot of meaning in them, and a lot of emotional power in them, and that really draw you in, excellent, absolutely excellent. So I guess I should say thanks to my sister for recommending it. I recommend it. And as harrowing as it was to read parts of it, it ends, I guess you could call it optimistically. I mean, one thing I understand now is racism is a fact of life, and I've been subjected to a lot of racism from Hindus. I never understood why. As far as I'm concerned, we're from the same part of the world. But if you read this, you'll understand why Hindus and Muslims have historical reason to hate each other. It was horrific from what I've read, what they both did to each other. Why my dad was none too pleased when a lot of my best friends were Sikh, I guess. But read it, it's really good. It's late, so I'll post another one of these when I've read another book. Hope you enjoyed that. Thanks.